Good Saturday evening. Welcome to the JB Font channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. It's so good to see all of you here on this beautiful night. Good to have you all here with me. Oh, man. I am all over the place, but good to see all of you here with me. The JB Font channel is available on all major podcast platforms. Go ahead, subscribe there. Also part of Revolutionary Blackout Network, so you can see me there on Sundays and Thursdays. If you have not already, go ahead and give a like to the stream. That pushes me out into the algorithm so that I can be more available to all of you more often. Also, if you guys have not already, have you guys subscribed to my Substack? Go ahead, subscribe to the Substack. Whenever I upload clips, go live, or write articles, you guys get that there instead of having to rely constantly on the notifications from YouTube. So thank you very much in advance for that. Thank you so much to everybody who has been here. And it's been a interesting day because this is my second time going live today, but I wanted to do that reading live in particular because those videos that I wanted to share earlier, but I wanted to do that. And so I just want to say thanks for those of you who tuned in earlier. But this is going to be a show where we're actually going to be doing a reaction. But before we get to that, I would like to go and say hello to everybody that's in the chat that's joining in. It is going to be a beautiful evening. And also, by the way, happy 420. I know. All right, so who we have in here? We have Desert Mantis coming in saying, hi, JB Font and friends. Good to see you, Desert Mantis. Myra coming in saying, hello to Desert Mantis. Well, isn't that lovely? Well, isn't that special? Oh, man. GV Black coming in saying, base JB again. Wow, what a time to be alive. Me and mine. Yes, thank you so very much. We have Sean coming in saying, GV Mantis, good to see you, saying hello to everybody that's also in the chat. All right, Leroy coming in saying tap the like for a real one. Thank you so very much, Leroy, for that. Also, by the way, if you're watching, please check to make sure if you're still subscribed. If you're not, because sometimes the tube will unsubscribe people automatically. So check to make sure that that box is turned from red to gray. So if you guys have not, then please make sure for that as well. All right, we have Blarg coming in saying happy holidays. Yo, I was playing Super Mario World yesterday. So yeah, shout out to you for that one. Yeah, that's pretty much my favorite Mario game, Super Mario World on Super Nintendo. Yeah, all right. And yes, GV Black says, double check that you liked the video. Yes, thank you so very much as well. Who else we got up in here? We got Terry Connolly coming in saying, good evening, everyone. So good to see you also in here, Terry. Nice to have you. Also to everybody that's watching on YouTube, Rockfin, Twitch, all y'all, it's so good to see all of you here. I do this now. All right, we got that there going. Okay, so this is going to be, and coming in, we got Cobra Commander coming in saying, you got Cobra lurking. I like to, Cobra, you like to watch, huh? Don't get me started. I'm trying to be good, y'all. I'm trying to be good. Don't get me in trouble up in here. Now, why are we here? Oh, wait. Did I check out the people on Rockfin? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me make sure that I get to the Rockfin peeps. I want to make sure. All right. Let's Cobra Commander about to get me in trouble. Gonna have all the people coming in. Oh, I got people sending me messages on the Facebook. Hang on. All right. Wait a minute. All right, we have Anna Maris coming in saying popcorn in hand. Think I'm banned from Twitter now. I kind of expected it earlier, so there's that. And love your positivity. Thank you so very much for that as well. Okay, I see what you're trying to do, Cobra Commander. You ain't getting past me. All right. Okay, so why are we live tonight? Well, we're going to be doing a reaction. What can we do? You see the comrade behind me, JT Chapman from Second Thought, and you got me going, well, what are you gonna do? So we're gonna have that conversation, and I think it's a worthy one. And we're not just gonna react. We're also going to talk about what solutions are there out there that we can do besides just focusing on the problems. I think that's important because a lot of times, look, I'm a commentator. I report on the news. And as I report on the news, a lot of times people will end up walking away feeling hopeless. My goal isn't for you to feel hopeless. My goal is for you to be informed as well as be activated to do the work to help out your community. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot. Remember, and I shared this when I did the Laziness Does Not Exist. You guys saw that yesterday morning. When we talked about in Laziness Does Not Exist in chapter 7, one of the things that we actually talked about was that you don't have to be perfect, that you don't have to burn yourself out in order to do something for your people, for your community. So when I say this, I say do it, while knowing your limitations, but we don't want to walk away feeling in despair. And I want to give kudos and praise to JT on Second Thought for this video. This video came out yesterday and I watched it and it was so needed and it was so on time. And just JT, if you ever see this, shout out to you, comrade. I really appreciate this and I want to share this and I want to add some points to this as well because I think it is absolutely necessary as well to add to what he's basically said. So we're going to get into this as well because let me get into this right now, because I think that is important. And I love the way he titled it too, because the title is pretty based. Make sure. Okay. So, am I okay? All right. So let's go. So I love the way this is titled. It says, yeah, capitalism is bad, but what can we do? Oh, JT. Let's see. All right. Let's go.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Well, I was gonna make this a big fancy video like always, but Hakeem beat me to this particular topic, and he did a great job, so go and watch his video if you haven't already. I still do want to take a few minutes to answer this question that I get asked a lot. And by a lot, I mean this is probably the single most common question I get. What can we do? This usually comes in the form of, yeah, capitalism is bad, but what can we as individuals do to make a change? And I'm kind of giving the game away a little bit by using that particular wording, but we'll get to that. The original idea for this video was to have a concrete answer I can link people to, because honestly, I'm tired of typing out the same answer 30 times every episode. But I do think it's valuable information in its own right. Okay, so what can we do? How to answer that question? If only there were some book I could refer to with that exact question as the title. The more experienced socialists among you have probably already guessed, we're going to be drawing a bit from Lenin's 1902 work, What is to be Done? This is the thing that's both frustrating and useful about questions like these. They've pretty much all been answered for the past 100 years. It's frustrating because we've all had 100 years to realize that and read the books and learn from the past. And it's useful because at least the books exist to point to when people ask the same questions they've been asking for the past century. As annoying as it can be to have to keep rehashing the same arguments and citing the same resources, it's our responsibility, talking about the more experienced socialists here, it's our responsibility to help educate people who come to us with questions. And this is a big one. The answer to the question, what can we do, is multifaceted. A lot of it will depend on where you live. Someone in
So one of the things I wanted to start off with was JT said it's actually our responsibility. This is something I think that is important. On the ground work is important, and I'm going to be referencing something that Noah Krejcivich from Midwestern Marx said, is that one of the goals is to educate. It is not just to tell you that everything sucks. I can tell you everything sucks every single day, but you already know that, right? Now, just like you know that the motor makes the car go, but you don't know the details of how the motor works. That's what people like me are here for, right? We're here to share the details of how the motor goes. We're here to share the details of how the system operates. But we're also going to tell you how to make the system, or how to rebuild the system in such a way where it can benefit everybody. That's something where a lot of people are like, how do we do that? And so I think education in the realm of informing you about what the system is and how it operates, but then what we can do to make it better, I think that in itself is also a deeply necessary task for us to do. Meaning, yes, everything sucks, but, and then that but means some tangible ways in which we can change it. So if you are somebody that is educated about the capitalist system, the imperialism, how things intersect with class, identity, how it intersects with, our social lives, as well as our economic lives, are you just holding on to that information and then not telling anybody or trying to teach people about it? Or are you just go out and do some research and then just say, go out and find it on your own? Or are you helping to guide people in the direction just in your everyday conversation? And I'm not talking about people who aren't up to speed on these things. I'm talking about those of us that know, right? And as we're learning these things, as we may be reading theory, are we sharing the knowledge so that it can be put into proper application, so that our fellow workers, our fellow people in the proletariat can also glean those gems and then put that into proper application as well? I think that's also important too, because sometimes it's good to impart what you learn as you learn it. Look, real talk. This is why I'm literally reading in front of y'all, because I'm learning myself and then I'm sharing it with you guys too. And this doesn't have to be done by a channel. You could be like, man, I was just watching, or I was just reading, you can be reading something from Lenin, or you can reading something from Marx, or you can be reading something from Kwame Ture or from Asada Shakur, and then say, hey, I was reading this and I thought this was very interesting. And then impart that to your fellow workers, and then spark conversations to get that, that motor running. Just a thought. All right, let's continue.
Russia or Somalia or Indonesia may need to take a different approach than someone in the US, for example. It depends on the material conditions in your country. But there is one thing that has remained constant through all of history and across every single country. We've been spoon-fed hyper-individualist propaganda for many, many decades. It stands to reason that we default to thinking there must be some individual course of action we each can take.
Now, this is very true. One of the things that I also wanted to bring out is the fact that you cannot individualize your way out of this system. You can't. You need each other. We need each other. This cannot be done by me just going out on my own and just doing everything on my own. Just like you can't do it all on your own. One of the biggest issues is that we take a very individualistic approach to a systemic problem. Systemic problems require systemic solutions. So therefore, collectivist thinking has to be paramount, tantamount in your head and in your heart in order to really change things. Now, you can be the one that starts the spark, but you have to encourage others to join you. And even if they may get some things wrong, you don't browbeat them when they're trying, right? You try to encourage them, and then you offer kind correction. I emphasize the word kind because this world is not kind to people. This system is not kind to people. So therefore, in order for them to listen and to reflect and apply, you have to apply kindness. Golden rule, baby. That's how it has to be. You can't just sit there and go, well, you're not doing this right, so therefore I'm pushing you out the way. You have to be kind to people. And with that kindness comes the ability to understand their circumstances and what they're going through and how this system has messed them up. We're all messed up. Every single one of us. Give people grace. Now, that's not saying that tolerate the BS. No. Don't tolerate it. But you let people know, hey, you're going in the wrong direction. That's not the way to go. This is what the predator class wants you to do. That's the direction they want you to go. This is the way we need to go. All right, let's continue. God, I love this video. This video is just gold.
If you want to look at it that way, sure, each of us can take the individual personal step of joining a socialist organization. But we need to shift our perspective to realize that it's only through the collective power of the organization that we actually have any agency to really change things. For most Americans, the first thing that probably comes to mind when we talk about organizing is labor unions. Unions are an example of collective power. One worker standing up to the boss alone is likely to get fired and replaced. But an entire store? That's a different story. We've seen some incredible growth in labor militancy and strike actions in the US over the last few years. From teachers to doctors to auto workers, people are unionizing and fighting back against the ruling class. After all, it's only fair. We're the ones who do the work. And while it's amazing to see the victories our unions are winning, it's important to recognize that these victories are still confined to the range of possibilities that exist within capitalism. You can win better conditions at work, but a labor union under capitalism will never be able to alter the relationship between labor, the people who do the work, and capital, the people who own the means by which that work is done. That brings us back to the same question. What do we do? According to most Marxists, we also need to focus on building political organizations to work alongside and within labor unions. Let me read you an excerpt from What is to be Done. Socialism represents the working class, not in its relation to a given group of employers, but in its relation to all classes in modern society, to the state as an organized political force. Hence, it follows that socialists must not confine themselves entirely to the economic struggle. We must actively take up the political education of the working class, and the development of its political consciousness. He goes on to say, the question now arises, what does political education mean? Is it sufficient to confine oneself to the propaganda of working class hostility towards autocracy? Of course not. It is not enough to explain to the workers that they are politically oppressed, any more than it was to explain to them that their interests were antagonistic to the interests of the employers. Advantage must be taken of every concrete example of this oppression for the purpose of agitation, in the same way as we began to use concrete examples of economic oppression for the purpose of agitation. And inasmuch as political oppression affects all sorts of classes in society, inasmuch as it manifests itself in various spheres of life and activity, in industrial life, civic life, in personal and family life, in religious life, etc., is it not evident that we shall not be fulfilling our task of developing the political consciousness of the workers if we do not undertake the organization of the political exposure of autocracy in all its aspects? In order to agitate over concrete examples of oppression, these examples must be exposed, in the same way it was necessary to expose factory evils in order to carry out economic agitation. Okay, I think that's fairly clear. But to people who may be unfamiliar with some of the jargon, say getting your local grocery store workers fired up about wage theft or showing how the boss takes advantage of workers by capping hours just below full time, it's equally, if not more important, to help them develop a political understanding of how capitalism as a whole creates all the problems they face both at work and in society at large.
Now, here's the gist, right? Because a lot of times people will say, well, all you got to do is get government out of the way and then things will get better. It's the government that's the problem. I'm going to give you a very short, very deeply simple way how capitalism works. Capitalism is basically a system where a small group or a single person owns the means of production. Means of production being a factory, a shop, a store. And then they pay the workers less than the less than the surplus value that they make. Surplus value meaning I'm working $10 an hour, but and in like 8 hours, I made $80, but in that 8 hours, I produced $8,000 worth of product, right? But I'm not going to see that entire $8,000. I'm only going to see the $80. So the other $7,920 is going to go to the boss, right? So the surplus value is being taken from me, even though I did all the work. The guy at the top is raking on all of the rest of the profit. So surplus value. So what does the bosses do? Well, in order to keep their taxes low, in order to keep regulation out away from them, what do? They take some of that money that they stolen from us, they give it to the politicians, and then the politicians will do work in the favor of the person who owns the means of production. What that means is that they are going to do corrupt things in order to serve the business leaders, the predator class, the business owners. So therefore, the government no longer works for people like you and me. It works for the rich. And so when people talk about, oh man, government's the problem, it's not necessarily government is the problem any more than a hammer is the problem as to why your foot is bashed. It's not the hammer that necessarily bashed your foot. It's the person holding the hammer that bashed your foot. So if you really want the hammer to work for you, what do you have to do? You have to take the hammer out of the hand, out of the adversary that's bashing your toes. And that is what it is. So capitalism literally affects us because the capitalists take control of the government and then they use it for their benefit instead of us workers owning the means of production and using the government for our benefit. And there are way more of us than there are of them. But because they use the power of the state, police, military, all these different things to keep us in check, therefore, whenever we want to grab hold of that power, well, they make examples out of a few of us. And therefore, we can't do it. Or we're too scared to, right? They'll make examples out of people like they did Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Assata Shakur is still in exile in Cuba. Fred Hampton, they killed him at the age of 21. See? And then they'll also make excuses out of international, Kwame Nkrumah, right? Look what they did to Thomas Sankara. They literally look what they did to Gaddafi. Look at what they tried to do to Fidel Castro over 600 times. They also make international examples. So this is how it works. And when people talk about, oh my God, look at the globalists and look at all these, they're just they are just the capitalists, baby. They're just the people who own the means of production that are trying to extract everything out of all of you. That's how it is. What do you think the World Economic Forum is? It's basically just the people who own these corporations that are trying to influence governments to extract the resources from you so that they can actually take it all. That's all it basically is. So that was just a really quick, messy form of explaining how capitalism influences the government. Let's continue.
How the police protect the interests of capital. How the profit motive leads to crumbling infrastructure, which leads to train derailments that poison entire towns. It's all well and good to expose the evils of the boss, but we also need to expose why the boss acts the way he does. His actions are informed by the capitalist system. If we get rid of capitalism, the antagonism between boss and worker goes away. Okay, so you may have noticed the words agitation, propaganda, and exposure in that passage. What do these terms mean in a political setting? In a nutshell, they all serve roughly the same purpose. Agitation is the process of trying to arouse feelings of discontent, like when you're explaining how a pay raise of any less than the inflation percentage is actually a pay cut. Propaganda, which usually has a negative connotation, in this older use of the word simply means persuasive language, the same sort of thing we'd write in a high school English class, or the stuff that video essay YouTubers do. Exposure has a very particular meaning in this setting. It's used in the common sense to reveal something that was hidden, but an exposure was also used to refer to a physical thing, like a pamphlet. Here's a passage where Lenin explains the importance of these exposures in economic agitation, specifically in Russia, but this applies to any country. Everyone knows that the spread and consolidation of the economic struggle of the Russian workers proceeded simultaneously with the creation of literature exposing economic conditions, i.e. factory and industrial conditions. These leaflets were devoted mainly to exposure of factory conditions, and very soon a passion for exposures was roused among the workers. As soon as the workers realized that the socialist circles desired to and could supply them with a new kind of leaflet that told the whole truth about their poverty-stricken lives, about their excessive toil and their lack of rights, correspondence began to pour in from the factories and workshops. This exposure literature created a tremendous sensation, not only in the particular factory exposed in the given leaflet, but in all the factories to which news of the revealed facts spread. And since the poverty and want among the workers in the various enterprises and in the various trades are much the same, the truth about the life of the workers stirred everyone. Even among the most backward workers, a veritable passion arose to get into print. A noble passion for this rudimentary form of war against the whole of the present social system, which is based upon robbery and oppression. And in the overwhelming majority of cases, these leaflets were in truth a declaration of war, because the exposures served greatly to agitate the workers. They evoked among them common demands for the removal of the most glaring outrages and roused in them a readiness to support the demands with strikes. Finally, the employers themselves were compelled to recognize the significance of these leaflets as a declaration of war. So much so that in a large number of cases, they did not even wait for the outbreak of hostilities. On more than one occasion, the mere appearance of a leaflet proved sufficient to compel an employer to concede all or part of the demands put forward. In a word, economic exposures were and remain an important lever in the economic struggle, and they will continue to retain this significance as long as there is capitalism, which makes it necessary for the workers to defend themselves. Even in the most advanced countries of Europe, it can still be seen that the exposure of abuses in some backward trade, or in some forgotten branch of domestic industry, serves as a starting point for the awakening of class consciousness, for the beginning of a trade union struggle, and for the spread of socialism. Okay, that was a long way of saying sharing information about capitalism in the workplace is effective, spooks the ruling class, and helps build a strike movement and favorability of socialism. The same is true today. We may not make use of physical pamphlets quite as much, but a business card with a QR code serves the same purpose.
Now, what are we doing right now? Here's the thing. I also want to add to this that agitation, propaganda, and exposure, you don't think that the corporate dictators, the predator class, doesn't do the same thing? What do? Agitation. They will tell you lies in order to agitate you. They will tell you the immigrants are coming at our southern border and they're taking all of our jobs. Oh no, they're the ones who are, let's demonize them and let's kick them out of the country, while they're still victimizing them and causing them to flee their countries to come here. Oh my God, there's a guy in a dress reading to children. Oh my goodness, this is the end of the world. Causing you to look at people who may be LGBTQ and thinking that they're the source of all your problems. Oh my God, these black people, they're doing DEI. Or, oh my God, these black people, they're on welfare, causing our taxes to go up, causing me to make less money. Oh no. That's the agitation that the predator class will do, the false agitation the predator class will do in order to get you riled up for them. That's what they do. Then propaganda, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, The Blaze, right? You'll have people like the Daily Wire. You don't think all this is also that's propaganda? And some will even be propaganda that has the appearance of independent media, like me, like RBN, like Heartlands, like Danny Haifong, like Katie Halper, like Brianna Joy Gray, right? It'll have the appearance of independent media, but then they're really just corporate media cosplaying independent media. And then on top of it, then you have exposure. You don't think that the New York Times and the Washington Post is an exposure for the predator class? You don't think that some of these articles that are written for the right, the conservative, and the liberal side, you don't think that they're not exposure for the corporate dictators? They apply the same thing. The only difference is they will lie about us, but we will tell the truth about them. But when we tell the truth about them, that's when their goons come out. That's when they put us in prison. Shout out to Mumia Abu-Jamal. Shout out to Julian Assange. See what happens? Let's continue.
The simple act of exposing the ills of the capitalist labor landscape is often enough to start the snowball down the hill. Once that process has begun, it's critical to work within socialist organizations to pursue the political education of the working class. When new socialists or just normal people say things like, "We all know this bad stuff is happening, but no one does anything about it," that's a reflection not on the average worker, but on the people who have the time and political understanding to engage in political agitation and fail to do so. Here's Lenin on the subject. Why is it that the Russian workers as yet display so little revolutionary activity in connection with the brutal way in which the police mistreat the people, in connection with the persecution of the religious sects, with the flogging of the peasantry, with the religious censorship, with the persecution of the most innocent cultural enterprises? Is it because the economic struggle does not stimulate them to this? Because such political activity does not promise palpable results? To advance this argument is merely to shift the blame onto the shoulders of others, to blame masses of workers for our own failings. We must blame ourselves, our remoteness from the mass movement. We must blame ourselves for being unable as yet to recognize a sufficiently wide, striking, and rapid exposure of these despicable outrages. Only those who themselves go into action now can make appeals for action. And our business as socialists is to deepen, expand, and intensify political exposures and political agitation. How does it feel to be called out from 120 years in the past?
Oh, damn. But yes, it's on us, right? Oh my God, this system is so bad. It's like, being a fisherman and you're around a whole bunch of hungry people that don't know how to fish. And you're all by your lonesome fishing and getting food. Man, I know how to fish, but these people don't. They just need to learn. Hey, learn how to fish. Will you? Instead of going, hey, come here. Do you want to eat? All right, here's what you do. Here, you get this line here. You get this hook. You have to find a worm, right? Once you get this worm, then you put this worm on the bottom of this hook. And then you put this floater next to it so that it can stay on top of the water. Then you cast it out as far as you can. And then once you get that bite, then you start to reel it in. See what that is? You also have to teach. And it's not that you have to be some expert teacher. You have to know everything. No. You can teach things as you learn them too. Let's go, JT.
What Lenin's talking about here is something we really struggle with today. We assume someone else is going to do the work. Someone else can organize the masses, unite the various unions, provide political education. We'll show our support when it's convenient. That's not how this works. There's no single savior. We're all responsible, all of us who are aware of the evils of capitalism. We all have to do the work. To get organized, join a socialist organization, and do the work ourselves, not as atomized individuals, but as a united front of socialists and workers. And a related issue we struggle with is that many of us put too much faith about the Black Lives Matter movement. We had a whole summer where huge numbers of people were protesting across the country, blocking traffic, confronting the servants of capital, even torching a police station. But what came of that? We got a street named after the movement, and the Democrats put on a little show. No material change came of this massive uprising because it wasn't politically organized. It didn't really even have concrete demands. There was plenty of righteous anger, which is good, but without a way to channel that into forcing specific change, it was always destined to be co-opted or fizzle out. Here's Lenin on the subject of spontaneity. Here he's talking about some recent strike movements in Russia. The fact that these strikes spread over the whole of Russia showed how deep the reviving popular movement was. And if we must speak of the spontaneous element, then of course we must admit that this strike movement bore a spontaneous character. Strikes occurred in Russia in the 1860s and 70s, as well as the first half of the 19th century. And these strikes were accompanied by the spontaneous destruction of machinery, etc. Compared with these revolts, the strikes of the 1890s might even be described as conscious. To such an extent do they mark the progress which the labor movement had made since that period. This shows that the spontaneous element, in essence, represents nothing more nor less than consciousness in its embryonic form. Even the primitive rebellions expressed the awakening of consciousness to a certain extent. The workers abandoned their age-long faith in the permanence of the system which oppressed them. They began, I shall not say to understand, but to sense the necessity of collective resistance.
Now, Occupy Wall Street, anybody? That was the beginning of a burgeoning of something big. But what always happens? There's never any concrete demands and then the carrying out of such demands, or giving consequence for not meeting those demands. And so I liken it to a car. If I have a car that's not working properly, I can smooth out all the dents. I can replace the lights. I can replace the window. I can give it a paint job. Nice high gloss finish. Hell, even put on some brand new tires. But the moment I turn over that engine, is anything still going to work? Sometimes you have to do the mundane tasks of doing the work on the ground so that the outside will reflect the inside. The problem is that we'll see the shiny big protest and think, oh man, this is our chance, when how many people have been doing on the ground work under the radar? In order to get to that, the important work is some of the work that you just don't see. The important work is some of the stuff that feels grueling. But a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just jump up and go, oh man, protest, let's go. But what are we doing before that protest? What are we doing to lead up to it? And then what are we doing after the protest is over? Because protesting is just yelling at the system. If I tell you, do this particular thing or else, when does the or else come? It's just like a parent that warns their child that they're going to get punished if they don't stop. And they say, when I count to 3, I'm going to punish you if you don't stop doing this particular thing. 1, 2. Don't you hate when parents do that? And then they'll stop. And then the kid will start doing it again. And the parent goes again. 1, 2. And the kid will stop. And then the kid will continue doing it. 1, 2. And you'll go 3. And then the kid will run away. But then the parent won't carry out the punishment for the issue. And then the parent will go again. 1, 2. How many times are you going to keep going? 1, 2. And then 3, but don't carry out what you said you were going to carry out. We got to stop letting people who are over us in this system to keep getting away with it by going 1, 2, stop it. That's the problem. We're yelling, but we're not actually carrying out the results. They're effing around, but they're not finding out. The point is to find out. All right, let's continue.
I'm sure you've heard the expression, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. This struggle against capitalism is about as clear an example as it gets. Large, righteous, and disorganized uprisings failed because of a lack of political vision. But the seed of understanding was there. When people ask, what can we do? This is the answer. Join organizations that are working towards building the political program necessary to unite the working class under a single banner. There is nothing we can do alone against the oppressive regimes of the world. That's why the expression agitate, educate, organize is so common in socialist circles. That's the formula. I'm going to leave some resources in the description, as well as links to all the main US socialist organizations. They all have their pros and cons, they all have their problems, and God knows they all hate each other. We socialists are really good at not getting along.
Yep.
I've personally worked with CPUSA and DSA, but join whatever is available in your area, even if you don't agree with them on everything. It is way more valuable to get involved and start working with other socialists towards a brighter future than it is to criticize from the sidelines. Okay, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks for coming to my little book club. I only focused on one aspect of the struggle for socialism here. There's a lot more to it, so make sure you go check out Hakim's video as well. He's got some great advice that applies wherever you live in the world. I've also got a Discord server for my patrons where we do an actual book club, and I try to do a live Q&A every month.
Thank you very much for that, JT. And I'm going to put this link to this video in the chat for you guys so that you guys can also play this for other people, because I think that's important too. But yes. There you go. But that's one of the points that I wanted to bring out. Now, here's the thing. He said join an organization. That is one of the most important things that you can possibly do. Either join one or create one. But either way, you need to organize. Look, the predator class is organized. They organize so well that they now have control over our government. City or county, state, and national governments. They organized. Why aren't we? I think that's really important. I'm going to share this with you guys too, because I think this is also really important. We're going to go to my birthday twin. Y'all know who. I shared this before, but it's an oldie but a goodie. Kwame Ture, baby. All right. Here's what he says.
Do not stop. We have told you it's a fact. If you look at history, I have known no great man or no great woman that didn't belong to an organization, not one. The American capitalist system will so confuse some of us that we will actually think that we by ourselves can lead the people to their freedom. There's no such thing as Rambo or Superman. It exists only in Hollywood.
Exactly. One of the things I want to say is, look, there is no such thing as a single revolutionary that actually liberates everybody. Superheroes are fiction. You need the collective of everybody. That's what will change things. It's not you by yourself. It's not one person by themselves. Let's continue.
Fidel Castro, as bad as he is, he needs the Communist Party of Cuba to help direct Cuba. V.I. Lenin, as rough as he is, he needed a Bolshevik party. Karl Marx was a great man, had to organize the International Workingmen's Association. The Honorable Marcus Garvey saw clear and long, but he needed the Universal Negro Improvement Association of the African Community Leagues. Patrice Lumumba was a great man, he needed organization. Harriet Tubman was a rough sister, she needed organization. Rosa Parks sat down so we can get up, she needed organization. Malcolm X so loved organization that when he left the Nation of Islam, he created two organizations, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated for Muslims and the African American Organization, spotted after the Organization of African Unity. Everywhere you will see the need for organization. Martin Luther King was a righteous man, but even he recognized the need for Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And while Nelson Mandela is known all over the world, he still has the African National Congress. Every brother or sister who truly seeks to advance the world must belong to an organization. History will not stop telling you.
So do you see the need now, right? Everybody that we looked up to. Fred Hampton, part of the Black Panther Party. Him, Bobby Seale, Assata Shakur, right? Afeni Shakur, Angela Davis. They were all part of organizations that actually were the driving point, that actually pushed for agitation, propaganda, and exposure. Right? That's what they did. Now, people are like, what organizations can we find? Well, you guys, I shared the link in the description. JT put some socialist organizations in this description, but I'm also going to share some here with you guys today. And it just doesn't have to be worker organizations. It can also be tenant organizations. You guys know where I'm going. Let's go here first. So, shout out to Nick of RBN. Here is KC Tenants, organizing for safe, accessible, affordable housing. And so you can go there and you can join KC Tenants, right? If you're in the Kansas City area. Or if you're not in Kansas or Missouri, then guess what? You can look for tenants organizations in your own city. Use the Google machine. Go look for tenants union organizations. Help out your community if you care deeply about it. That is something you can do, right? Now, that's one that you can do. What's another? Now, I've had him on before. And it was beautiful. Omali Yeshitela, part of the movement, African People's Socialist Party, is another group that you can possibly join, right? They're out there in Missouri and also here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Could you possibly join them, right? They're a party, a group that also does great work on the ground. Could you possibly join them? Right? That is another opportunity for you guys to join with. Because, look, just like every great person we ever seen was a part of an organization, here's another organization that you guys can join. All right? Let me make sure I put these in the chat too. Just, let me see. All right, so there's the KC tenants. And then also here. Oh, wait. Oops. I don't know what's going on with my internet. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Wait. Ah. Hang on. There it is. It just... Today's not my day. There we go. Okay. It got there. Okay. Let's do the African People's Socialist Party. So you guys have that. Sorry, guys. I don't have a producer. All right. Here you go. I have another one as well. All right. So another one that I want to bring out. Here's another organization as well. Saw this one. For our indigenous folk, indigenousaction.org. Indigenous mutual aid, ceremony, solidarity, not charity on stolen lands. Says Indigenous Mutual Aid is an information support network with anti-colonial and anti-capitalist framework. We exist to inspire and empower autonomous indigenous relief organizing in response to C-19. So here is another org that is anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, that you guys can also join in, right? All right. And there we go there. Okay. Now, here is the next one I'm going to share. Here locally in Orlando is this one. So we're looking at Orlando. I have interviewed members from before. And if you guys have not, you guys can check that out. Or interview People's Free Kitchen, and they do some great work on the ground as well. Why is this? Sorry, this thing is. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's Real Orlando. They're doing work on the ground. This is their Instagram page. So Real Orlando, Real is an acronym for Revolutionary Education Action League. So if you want to, you guys can go to Instagram and you can give them a follow and then try to, go with them to do work on the ground. They also have a link tree as well. So let me see. And then I will share with you guys the link tree as well, so you guys can see that too. And then I have one more. So you guys go to We're Orlando. You guys, they have the Spotify, Substack. You can volunteer. You also have the people in the kitchen. They have digital zines in their digital library, right? So if you guys would like to, you guys can go there as well. And for some of you that may be more affluent, if you guys would like to, you guys can also donate to them to help out the work that they're doing on the ground. For those of you that are affluent. Now, one more. And some of you guys know this already. Some of you don't. Let's take a look. Revolutionary Blackout Network chapters. Now, of course, you guys know I'm part of Revolutionary Blackout Network. We have chapters in 5 different cities around the country. We have Los Angeles. We have Kansas City, Missouri, Detroit, Michigan, Boston, Massachusetts, and Orlando, Florida. Goals for our local chapters is building a community, diaper and baby supply giveaways, school supply giveaways, disability community outreach, feeding the poor and unhoused, housing activism, bill payment assistance, self-defense classes, remote webinars, citizen journalists, tutoring K through 8th grade, arts, cultural classes and events, and youth basketball training. So, Boston, you have Savvy Savs there. You have me in Orlando. You have Rome in Detroit. You have Nick in Kansas City. And you have CJ in Long Beach. Well, technically it's Long Beach, but LA area, pretty much. So you have that as well. So I'll share the link to that as well. So, with that being said, it doesn't have to be just these organizations that I pointed out. It can be a mutual aid organization. You can be in Rhode Island, right? You can look for mutual aid organizations there. You can be in Delaware. You can be in Minnesota, right? You can be in Arizona. You can be in Texas. You can be in Alaska. Look for different organizations to join in your area so that you can push forward and actually leave the world better than you found it, like I always say. Because that's how we're going to get things done. Now, protests are important. That's a part of the agitation. But that's just a piece of what needs to be done. Just a piece. You need to organize and get actual tangible things on the ground. Yelling will only get you so far. Your feet and your hands have to do the work. Right? Now, it's inspiring to see, right? Like what's going on in Columbia University. They're doing agitation right now. They are camping out and protesting against what's going on as far as, being for pro-Palestine, against what the genocide is going on in Gaza. You have the young lady from USC that was the valedictorian, that she was basically barred from giving a valedictorian speech because she's Muslim. What's going on in, Gaza? Of course, she would have something to say on that, but they don't want to hear it. So what's happening in Columbia University, what's happening in Yale right now, they're also doing the same thing. It's growing across universities. These things are good, but also what are you doing on the ground to also influence change, right? I've seen some people blocking ships that would be going to Israel. I've seen people, look, truck drivers. If you know that you have a shipment that's supposed to be going out to go to Israel, could you just call in sick that day? Or if you're somebody who is trying, if you know somebody who is about to be evicted, is there a way that you can help that person? You may not have money, but are you a lawyer? Could you do some pro bono work? Right? Join an organization, see who needs help. You know, there's so many different ways to do it. We will save us. It's not going to be us depending on a particular person. And like I said to Sabby on Tuesday, we should not be looking towards a leader that's a politician. Now, I'm not completely against electoral politics. I think maybe 5 to 10% of our energy directed towards them, but that's it. It's like back burner stuff, right? And this is why I asked Jill Stein when she was on, was once after November 5th comes and goes, what is your plan after that? And I think that it's up to everybody in independent media to ask every single presidential candidate they have on to ask that question. What are your plans to shore up this movement that you're trying to start? What is your plan afterwards? And how are you going to make sure that it stays in the hands of the people and you're a complement to the movement, not leading it? I think that's also important too. Because politicians should not be leading movements, it should be the people. So, yeah. And by the way, we save us. And you know, looking at you, you know, fellow black people, black faces in high places are not going to save us either. Because I think that's also important. We need to talk about that too. Right? Just because somebody look like us, don't mean they're actually for us. I want to share this too. Because this this speech right here, was so good. So I'm going to share this and then we'll get to the comments in the chat. But I want to share this because I thought this was just absolutely on time. There's a lot of good on time stuff, but so somebody shared like a 20-second snip of a speech that was given from Dr. Ruha Benjamin from Spelman College. And I was just like, man, and Dr. Ruha, she smacked me in the face in a good way with her speech. And I felt it necessary to clip the last part of her speech. And I clipped a little over 5 minutes of it. And I think it's important that we, as people, and it's not just the black people, it's everybody, we realize that we cannot depend on a politician to give us what we need. We have to do it. And it's not just in the form of voting. Voting is the smallest thing you can do. And looking at some of you who are Trump voters, stop putting all your energy and hopes into having a better America from a billionaire parasite. Because that's who Donald Trump is. He is just as parasitic as Joe Biden. No different. Stop putting all your energy into him. If you really want to help your fellow workers just like yourself, you need to band with the rest of us. And you need to actually agitate, propagandize, and expose so that we can actually get ourselves out of the situation we're in. Because all they're doing is demonizing somebody else so that you take your focus off them. Trump and Biden both do this. They both do. Let me share this with y'all. Watch some people get mad at me in the comments and then they start talking ish at me. But oh well, whatever. So I wrote 2001 Spelman College valedictorian Dr. Ruha Benjamin gives the 2024 convocation speech. This is the ending where she speaks about black faces in high places won't save us. Solidarity with all oppressed people is reflected in the speech. Dr. Benjamin cooked. All right, get ready to smell the ingredients because she definitely cooked. Let's listen.
Of who we are. Above all else, I want to encourage you to be careful with each other so you can be dangerous together.
Ooh-wee! Be careful with each other so you can be dangerous together. What did the late Michael Brooks say? He said, be kind to others, but be ruthless to systems and institutions. This is the point. Be kind to each other so that you can be dangerous together. Oh, Dr. Benjamin, don't do it to us. You ain't got no business cooking the way you did. Y'all stick around for this one. This is about to get good. You heard the whole crowd. She made us gag with that one, baby.
Graduating class of 2024, as you complete your studies and navigate new workplaces, professions, cities, and experiences, I want to remind you that Spelman is more than a college. It's a flight school, the NASA for Black women, that imparts not only intellectual skills, but the spiritual audacity to fly in and out of worlds that were not created with you in mind. When you feel weighed down, as we all do, I want to encourage you to dust off women over the course of 143 friggin' years so you can fly and be fly. Remember too that despite the social media slogan, trust Black women, you too have to be trustworthy. Black faces in high places are not going to save us. Just look at the Black proponents of Cop City in Atlanta's leadership class. Black faces in high places are not going to save us. Just look at the Black woman's hand, ambassador at the UN, voting against a ceasefire in Gaza. That is, our Blackness and our womanness are not in themselves trustworthy. If we allow ourselves to be conscripted into positions of power that maintain the oppressive status quo, our Blackness and womanness are not themselves trustworthy if we support the occupation of Black neighborhoods with so-called better trained police, or remain silent about the genocide of oppressed peoples around the world funded by our tax dollars.
What? What? Oh, snap, Doc. What? Yo, Dr. Benjamin ate this up, bro. She had no business eating us up this good. Like, what? She gave this at Spelman, right? Bro, ain't she Corona, bro, ain't she fire? Yo, I gotta get this woman on here. I gotta get her on my show, bro. Because she spoke the truth. And she did it in front of everybody. In front of the faculty, staff, in front of the alumni. And some of those alumni, it could be at Spelman, it could be at Morehouse, it could be at, it could be somebody from FAMU. It could be from any one of these colleges. She called them out, bruh. Because Black faces in high places ain't going to save us. Just like white faces in high places ain't going to save y'all either. This is why organization is so important. Let's let her cook some more. Because it gets even better. Watch, it gets even better. Listen.
And here, let me please shout out the incredible Spelman students and AUC siblings who have been organizing with Stop Cop City and Justice in Palestine, among many other troublemakers in this room. You all remind us that college is not a waiting room to enter the real world, but that you can start transforming that world right here, right now. It goes without saying, but let me just say it anyway. For student activists speaking out courageously for Palestine and Congo and Haiti and to stop Cop City, they should not be threatened with expulsion, loss of scholarships, or have public safety called on them for protesting.
Oh, snap! What?
Too often, our institutions celebrate student activists after they've graduated, even giving them honorary degrees. But stifle student activism while we are enrolled. We can do better. To close then, as we turn our attention to the founders of Spelman College who dared to dream beyond the oppressive systems that sought to limit their opportunities, to limit their imagination and crush their spirits 143 years ago. Let's also time travel in the other direction, opening a portal 143 years into the future, to the students and faculty and staff who will gather in Sisters Chapel in the year 2167. We are, after all, their ancestors. So then, what kind of sister ancestors are we going to be? Successful and compliant? or purposeful and courageous. That is, we are our descendants' wildest dreams. Each of us has the privilege and responsibility of answering that for ourselves honestly and joyously. With that, thank you, thank you, thank you for this incredible honor.
Wasn't that rich? That was gold. Gold. But yes, that's what it means to organize. To not depend on just somebody that looks like you or that loves like you. We're not going to sit here and go, yay, Pete Buttigieg, just because he likes what we like. No, it don't fly like that. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Remember that. Organize. Get together with people and let's change and leave the world better than we found it. Thanks to JT Chapman for that. Dr. Ruha Benjamin, thank you for that speech. And with that, thank you for liking the stream. All right. Now, before I get into the comments in the chat, just want to give a big shout out and thank you to all the patrons on Patreon as well as on Coffee, and to all the people that donate via Patreon. So thank you so very much to all of you for tuning in and also giving it to me good. Without you guys, I would not be able to do this work. Of course, my channel is demonetized, so if you like to support the channel, you can support via Patreon or PayPal. So thank you so very much to all of you. If you guys would like to become patrons on Patreon, let me show you guys the tiers, the tiers, the tiers. Oh my, here we go. Hang on. Okay. So here are the tiers. Whoop. Hang on. There we go. We have JB members, Solidarity, Comrades, JB Fonters, Super JB Fonters, Super Duper JB Fonters, and Mega JB Fonters. So thank you so very much. Also, shout out to new patron Cicely De Leon. Thank you so very much for becoming a new patron as well. Thank you, thank you. All right, let's go into the chat. Let me check on the Rock real quick first. Yeah, we got some chats in the Rock. All right, let's check there first. Okie dokie. So Animator says it's so important because we can spiral so easily now. Yes. Thank you for the tip, Hemp Car. He says, wasn't it Susan B. Anthony who said organize, agitate, educate must be our war cry? One easy thing we can do is leave cards and leaflets or hand them out. RIP Dr. William Pepper. Now, or any time is great time to break the sound barrier that a cop named Frank Strausser killed MLK. Interesting. All right, so I'll share that in the chat. Thank you so very much for that, Hemp Car. All right, let's continue on. Hemp Car continues, says, what can you do? There are thousands of things. War at home, covert action against U.S. activists, and what can we do about it by Brian Glick. Hemp Car continues, CIA off-campus rebuilding the movement against agency recruitment and research by Amy Chen Mills. Thank you so very much for that, Hempcar. Anna Mayer says, I'm reading Living and Dying on the Factory Floor by David Ranney right now, and it's fascinating. Interesting. Hemcar says, cheers, reminds me of the scene in Norma Ray when that guy had a heart attack. I think I nearly collapsed during the pandemic. Amazon Christmas at the post office. People were working at night, driving from the passenger seat. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, so you guys have a conversation. Anna Maris, thank you very much. Thank you for the tip. Says, is there a P.O. box we can send books to? I have some gems I think you might like. I don't have a P.O. box and I don't give out my address. But if you'd like to, you can email me a list of different books that you would like to recommend. And then I'll take a look and see which ones that I can possibly read on the show. In fact, I will put my email in that chat. All right. So Anna Maris, there you go. If you want to recommend a book. Yeah. So thank you so very much. And yes, Hempcar, Rome is also taking donations for books as well. So yes. Anna Maris also, thank you so much for the tip on Rockfin. Says, do you have a favorite community that is teaching gardening? Okay. Now, let me share with you this, because you just, hang on. Let me see. Yes, I do. In fact, let me see if I can find them really quick. Oh, here we go. All right. So there's People's Free Kitchen here. As well. Let me share this really quick with you guys too. People's Free Kitchen is part of Real Orlando, and they have a farm, a local farm, where they're actually they're planting the food in the farms, and then they actually harvest and use that same food to feed the unhoused in our area. So I was there, and I also helped out. I tried to help out in the farm, but I got there late one day. But I also shared the food preparation that they were doing a couple months back. And so if you guys would like to, you guys can also look at that. But they're doing great work on the ground, feeding the unhoused in this area. So if you guys would like to, you guys can also follow them on Instagram. So Anna on Rockfin, I'm going to share this in the chat as well. I know you're probably not in Orlando, but if you would like to follow them and get some inspiration from them or another group in your area, if you'd like to, you can also share them as well. I think it's a time we celebrate these organizations so that they can grow and we can join them, help them to help our community. So there you go. I will do the link tree to their kitchen as well, to People's Free Kitchen. So you guys can also have that information as well. But yes, they are a part of Real Orlando. So just in case you guys are wondering. All right. So let me share this. Thank you for asking that too, Anna. I appreciate it. All right. So here's a link tree for People's Free Kitchen. So you can volunteer, you can donate. request donation items. They have an Amazon wish list, of course. And then they have condemned ordinance number 2023-55. That is an ordinance here in Orlando that's actually further criminalizing homelessness. So if you guys would like to, if you're local in Central Florida, you guys can actually also join them and help out in their farm as well. They're doing great work out there. I'm telling you, they're doing the damn thing. They have a farm out there in Pine Hills. If you're in Central Florida, you guys know where that is. So, guys, I'm telling you right now, they're doing the damn thing. And yeah, this is one of the groups that I have a deep love and respect for because they're doing so much great work out there. So, yes, to answer your question, Anna. And yes, you can learn a lot from them too. All right, so Roger Meadow says, damn, JB, JT is saying everything, but the very two. There we go. Huh. Internet issues. Okay, so let me share my screen again so that I can read what Roger has to say. Okay. Roger says, damn, JB, JT is saying everything but the very two things that will get this done. Worker co-ops and public banks through a citizen ballot initiative amendments, not demands. So that's another thing, right? Is that you could also do ballot initiatives that circumvent politicians and do it via direct democracy. That is also another point as well. So I know I shared different organizations, but you can also organize to get citizen ballot initiatives so that you can mitigate the damage that's done and help benefit the people. For instance, North Dakota has a public bank, and that helps with being able to build infrastructure for the community. So could you also influence a public bank to be created either municipally in your city or county or a statewide one? This can also be a benefit. During the pandemic, who was shielded from a lot of the hurt and harm done by the pandemic? Well, it was North Dakota. They had their public bank, so they didn't feel the effects as badly. So I think that's also really important. This is another tool in the toolbox in order to be able to change things for our community for the better. Look, we in here in Florida, we actually passed a $15 an hour minimum wage. I know it is nowhere near what it needs to be, but that was through citizen ballot initiative. If we can do that, imagine what else we can do. I'm just saying. So that's another avenue as well. So thank you very much for bringing that out, Roger. Roger, let me see. Yeah. Thank you so very much for that. Roger Meadow says no amount of demands, protests, and joining book clubs will get the policies we want. Only direct democracy in government business via state and by state strategy. But I also say this, Roger. I also say that building dual power on the ground as well can also be an effective strategy as well. So I would also say that too. So says, Anna, have you heard of that guy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, growing 1 million pounds of food on 2.3 acres? Sounds interesting. All right. Hemp Car, thank you so much for the tip. He says, this book has a great list of like 5 pages of things you can do. It's a good list to get you thinking, from dictatorship to democracy. I heard it's kind of a NED book, but regardless, it's good ideas of how to get attention and make noise. Okay, so all right, so I'll share that as well into the chat. Okie dokie. All right, so thank you so very much for the advice, the knowledge, the tips, all of it. All of it. Now, let's go to the rest of the chat. I saw this, and I'm glad I wasn't drinking my water because I would have spat out my water. Bad Cookies, you know you wrong for this. Bad Cookie says, JB, I'm broke. I'm 1 month's missed rent away from an OnlyFans page. I don't want to do it, but if someone has to, Anna Kasparian for donations, so I got to do what I got to do. Bad cookies, bad cookies, bad cookies. Don't you? You almost made me spit out my drink for that one. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's continue. Let me see. All right. Oh, by the way, Food Not Bombs. I forgot about them. They're also a really great organization. You guys, you know, go ahead, you know, look at that too. Cobra Commander says, again, the first step is to push society to this point. Currently, folks can still check out while chaos unfolds directly around them. I understand. But when you know better, you do better. Collage Mirage says, defund the police was a ridiculous battle cry and should have been reallocate the funds. No, actually, I'm going to disagree, because the thing is that defund the police actually got people talking. And that's how it was. It got people talking. And it got people agitated. And some people were like, well, what does that mean? You know, that's what the people said. And that's how it went, you know. And the thing is like, they're going to reallocate the funds that can be co-opted. Defund the police can't be co-opted, right? Just like Black Lives Matter was co-opted, right? Just like you have progressives saying, oh, we're part of the 99%. We're trying to go against the 1%. They co-opted it, baby. They co-opted progressive. See? So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to be drastic in your language in order to get people to wake up. Let me see. What else? Casey says, ooh, the embryonic, the beginning. Let's make RBN the final force, a sledgehammer in revolutionary or something like that. Good, Herb. Oh, my goodness. Killier Grigor says, it says a lot of what we already know. Feel bad for the dude. Could have done more. Oh, you guys are talking about that gentleman that self-immolated? That was sad. I don't know if I want to cover that, but Bad Cookie says, I don't think protesting does a damn thing, but that's just me. It gets attention and it gets eyes, and it shows people that, you know, something that they need to be paying attention to. That's what I think. it's good at advocating. It's good for letting people know what's going on. That's what I think it's good for. Let's continue. Desert Mantis says, I thought it was peculiar when NATO West kept counting 1, 2 in the lead to their counteroffensive. Oh, man. The Quantum Alchemist says, you have LOL, you have disappointed me very much. Instead of doing it my way, you decided on a bloodbath. I should arrest you. Me, why don't you do it then, bro? Retro Gamer says, over 100 Columbia students got arrested for protesting, for exercising their First Amendment rights. Wow. It's sad, but that's how, these businesses, colleges operate. Mouse says, Raymond and Rosa Parks ran an all-black gun owners club. Love it. There is a Socialist Rifle Association. Let's see. Oh, by the way, Kill Your Greek Horse says, Kit promised us the manly man's kilt, so we'll see. Congratulations to Heartlands Media on 50,000 subscribers. And also congratulations to Danny Haifong on 200,000 subscribers. Just wanted to put that out there on the record. Yes, they're doing the damn thing out there. All right. Let me see. Trying to look. Let me see. Oh. All right. Let's see. Who else? Before I get going. Bad Cookies, you killed me with that. I'm done. I'm done. Good to see a V. Good to see a Ghost Nest. Nice to have you guys here. All right, let's go. I'm just trying to talk to people who haven't seen or talked to in a while. Who are saying something that I didn't get to touch on yet. Let me see. Yep. EMK, definitely. All skin folk ain't kin folk. We also have to realize, that a lot of times there are people who are going to look like us that are going to say all the right things too. And they're even going to say that, oh my goodness, I'm on the left just like you. I'm a socialist. I'm a communist. But then they move in ways that don't jive with actually trying to win this class war. I'm just saying. So you have to be careful about somebody who even labels themselves like I do. Because it depends on how they move. Watch how they move. Right? People who say that they're on. Some people are cosplaying leftists. Some people are cosplaying socialists. But once that money hits, yep, you see them for who they are. All right. Sula Moon's in here, says, hi, all. I'm 7 minutes behind. Just wanted to say that Real will help you build a community garden. if you're in the area. Oh, thank you, Sula. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Johnny Boy, California says, hello from Long Beach. Hello, Johnny Boy. Good to see you. Nice to have you joining as well. Laura says, protesting is also good to find community and feel a part of community if you've been outraged by it yourself. This is also a really good tip. So it is good because you are able to find like-minded people in order to organize with. So that's another benefit of protesting. So don't completely discount it because it does have some positive benefits, right? So thank you very much for adding that too. All right. And John says, another stream today. Loving it. Yep. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Free Palestine. All right. Thank you so very much, John. So with that being said, hang on. Let me check the rock just to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right. Okay. So with that being said, I'll check the Rumble, see if anybody said anything. Not too many people talk on Rumble, though. Oh, yeah. Okay. So on Rumble, a non-user says this was the commitment speaker this year. Damn, solid. Yeah. That wasn't even the graduation. That was the founders ceremony. So, yeah. I think that was an awesome thing. So thank you very much, a non-user on Rumble. So yeah. All right. So now I am going to head out because, well, I got a little thing of ice cream with my name on it. And I did good today. So I'm going to treat myself to some ice cream. I don't have ice cream. I haven't had, wait, when was the last time I had ice cream? Oh, snap. It's been a while. Okay. So I'm going to have that. But strawberry. But I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like I always say, you know, it is important to try to organize whenever you can and to find people who are also doing the work on the ground. That's important. And sometimes joining organizations means finding them through protests. So I want to share that with you guys as I go out. But try to do what you can to get with like-minded people in order to change this world the best you possibly can. Water your plants. Water yourselves. Leave the world better than you found them. It's 420, so some of y'all know what to do. Or drink them if you got them. But if you ain't got them, then look. Watch something hilarious because joy is revolutionary. It's Saturday night, baby. Go ahead. Laugh. Okay? Do something that's healthy for you. All right? And look, I just want to say that, you know, I appreciate you guys. I'm up to 3,800 subs right now. I'm on my way to 4,000. Once I get there, I will be very happy, and it will be a joyous time. So I cannot wait for that. Yeah, Tim, I went live. But yes, I'm about to head on out. But look, you guys are going to have yourself a good night. Please make sure to be kind, not just to others, but be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. If you're unable to do the things that you see others doing, don't beat yourself up about it. Do what you can and then just leave the rest, okay? Just do that. All right, because that's important too. So I'm going to share. Actually, you know what? Let me share this as well, because I think this is. Are you going to cooperate? Okay. So I'm going to share this really quick, and then I'll share another video and we'll head on out. So there's a protest going on right now at Columbia. And who decided to join? Well, Professor Norm Finkelstein.
What's going on at Columbia University right now? Since, as I said, everything has been mediated by the media, except for the hearings, which I did watch from start to finish. Thank you.
So you see Professor Norm Finkelstein out there as well. And that was pretty cool. The fact that he actually joined out with the Columbia students that are protesting. But closing video is going to be students now at Yale protesting against the genocide happening in Gaza. And of course, you know, people are meeting each other, and now they're going to start organizing. So can you do the same with your friends, with your neighbors? Do it. All right. By the way, just to let you guys know, I love you, and mwah, forehead kisses to each and every single one of you. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.
We have just heard.
Thank you so very much for watching my channel, and I deeply appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you wish to support the channel further, so I can keep bringing you content that is educational and informative, you can become a patron on patreon.com/jbfont. You can find that link in the pinned comment or in the description below. No matter what you give, you'll be supporting independent media and education that helps make the world better. Thank you so much, and you can watch more of my content here. Mwah. Forehead kisses, and have a beautiful day.